Tune in every Monday to Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. for a musical journey like no other. Genres like R&B, alternative, love songs, rock, pop, hip hop, and rap. Each day brings you a different era of fancy original music tailored to match your mood. Looking for the perfect soundtrack to your day? We've got you covered. Join our hosts as they bring you the freshest hits, timeless classics, and everything in between. Catch us live on INC Radio Easy 55 kHz on the INC Radio YouTube channel and on the INC Production Company's Facebook page. Send our reminders, spread the word, and don't miss a bit with playlist. And remember, it's your music, your playlist. See you there!
This is INC Radio DCEM 954, the voice of truth, official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
The power of a single
Conversation.
life.
INC Radio Chatline.
Conversations that matter.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to INC Radio Chatline. And today, we're going to talk about something that we all have to do at some point, that we are technically doing every minute. It's getting older. All of us are getting older, unfortunately, all the time, every moment, right, Tracy? I actually just had my birthday a couple of weeks ago. So we're in like the 30s now, and this is a new chapter of my life, so this is very relevant for me to be talking about. I know your birthday is coming up in a couple months still, so
Yes.
how
yes,
we
my
feeling?
birthday. I don't know how I feel about this one because next year is like a milestone birthday, and I'm gonna let people guess what that milestone birthday is.
Put your guess that she won't be offended.
I actually won't be offended, and
She won't be
is-
offended.
that is the clue. I won't be offended at this point.
Yeah, same. You can also comment. Oh no, I told you. I gave you a hint, but I didn't give you an exact age, so you can kind of guess. But we are talking about that today. We're talking about, but more specifically, what we didn't know about getting older, what we didn't know about growing up, what we didn't expect. That happens. Like, well, I think we were joking about it when we were first thinking about this topic. Is that some sounds to be more prominent, right? Shout out to Nate and Arnie. I think some of the sounds that we were describing was kind of like granola.
Granola bar got me.
The granola bar. Like, what kind of granola bar?
We're talking about crunchy granola bar,
Yeah.
the one that like leaves a
Balls
mess.
apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either that or like the chewy kind. Like, does some stuff feel more? I don't know. I experienced that even before. By the way, yeah, I feel like even before 30, I was already experiencing some of that. That could also be because maybe a lack of workout or just lack of proper workout. So just disclaimer there. Sounds.
Maybe it's genetic too, because like I know since I was
True.
a kid, my shoulders always kind of pop.
Oh no.
What is that sound? It's my shoulders. It just does it.
Headphones.
I can't do anything about it. It doesn't hurt. It just pops and it just sounds
Okay.
terrible.
As long as it doesn't hurt. I think when it hurts, that's the indicator, right?
Yeah.
I feel like joints for sure have getting
Mhm.
older. I don't know if this has happened to you, but sometimes if you stay on one side of sleeping,
Yeah.
you wake up the next morning and you
Just
feel like it's just stuck.
Yeah. You're like, in that
what
position
happened?
forever.
Like, is it
Have
gonna
to
go
warm
back?
up in the morning. That's something I realized too. I mean, I didn't really start like going to the gym later. I never really
Mm.
went like and worked out or anything. And my workouts like I would say really a workout.
Yeah.
I just
That's a workout, okay? That is a workout.
I
Don't
guess.
even.
I mean, it
Tracy?
does. It does help. Yes, I have seen changes, and it is good changes. But warm up now.
Mm,
I actually have to, like get my joints like going first and
mhm.
like I can't just. It used to be that warm up is just climbing. That's the warm up. The warm up is the activity, but I can't do that anymore because I did actually injure my.
No.
So and then I had to start doing like kind of like rehab exercises for my shoulders. So that's something I didn't expect. Is that actually I have to warm up. What are you talking about? What is a warm up? Larry?
Mm, okay. I think another thing too, aside from just the physical, in terms of all of the life skills that I didn't know I had to learn until at that moment.
Okay.
And I don't mean the typical life skills like cooking and like cleaning things. I mean, when you're trying to like buy an insurance for your car, like I don't know how a lot of others have figured out how to shop around for insurance for, let's say, your car insurance, like health insurance if your job doesn't provide stuff, or even just groceries. Like that was like one of the things to manage. Like, this costs that much? Like, are you kidding me?
It's like,
But then again, yeah, it's probably more expensive now, but even still, it's just a big
I
shock.
learned to coupon.
Yeah.
like coupons is now digital.
Say your apps, you get the apps.
Yeah, it helps to check out some of the deals.
Mhm.
I guess the other thing I'm thinking about is that I didn't realize how lonely it can be sometimes. It's like how much more whoever you're spending time with, like how much more deliberate you have to be to maintain and create like connections and friendships. Just like this proximity, right? Like with people at school or people at church or anything like that, you have all these people around you, and you're kind of on this. Like for me, I moved away, and I moved around a lot as a kid.
How old were you? Can I ask?
When I moved here,
maybe the first time.
the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 20. I was turning 21 when so most of my life has been the Philippines. Yeah, so I moved here. So I mean, I had like high school friends, and then I moved, and so now it's like, okay, I mean, who are all these people, right? Like who are like,
in a way, yeah.
But yeah. So it's like it's a little more, I guess, like lonely, that growing up and trying to be like maintaining friendships. And then another thing is like when you're young or child, like like I don't need afternoon naps, and now I'm just like I'm at and just like I could use a nap right now.
That was literally my lunch. I just ended up eating like while I was working because I used my actual lunchtime just to nap, straight up nap.
I do. That's like
that's
the seat back and just like disappears. I will see.
I always have blankets and jackets, and I just always have them there, and then I do the same because everyone's parked next to you, right? And you never know when one's gonna go out for lunch, so you kind of like hide there. Yeah, you get more tired, guys. By the way, when you get older.
Yeah.
I feel like even just friends that I know who are even like much older than me, they can attest to that too. Your body just has a harder time keeping up. So, and everyone would always talk about that. Like, it makes sense. Yeah.
You start to understanding how important that is. I guess like the other thing on like this like freedom that you have as a kid when you become an adult is now you actually like now you're responsible for yourself. Like you have to like
Yeah.
direct. You have to
Mhm.
motivate. You have to push yourself. Then you start realizing how important structure is in your life.
Yeah.
But I thought being an adult meant eating ice cream for breakfast. But no, actually, I mean, you could do that if you wanted, but
Yeah.
that's not kind of like that's not the point.
But that's such a great word that you brought up, Tracy, because in terms of structure, like when you're younger and going to school, that's not stuff that you have to build yourself in order to
Mhm.
have it. Like it's just natural for you because your parents, they get you ready for school and you just get used to that routine and you're just living in that for how much of your life.
Yeah.
And then once you graduate and you go off the world, I mean, like, yeah, sometimes, people be able to establish that with the job, but sometimes that's not right away. Like I had a lot of friends who out of college, they didn't secure the job that they wanted. So they kind of had to hop around and do a lot of job hopping and that can be hard. Learning how to write a resume, and figuring out how to do that and then just doing job interviews. That's a whole other thing. There's a lot of practice of that. I feel now in schools, they try to do a lot of career prep, but it's still very in the room.
Yeah.
And I think
of
that was one of the
course,
biggest shocks.
things now are different from when I was applying for jobs. A lot of like robots are reading your resume now. It's not even real people anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
It can be level playing field it shifts. And I feel like maybe the ones who are watching this that are in the process of growing up, but like to your point earlier, where you think that it's good things once you get there, it's like
Yeah.
just kidding. Like not only has technology evolved, but so is the world and the way everything just kind of handles itself. I know.
Yeah. Like a great point. I guess like maybe like that's kind of like one of the surprising things. That my life now isn't what I imagined or expected it would be.
In what way?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like at different parts of like my youth, I was.
You're still young.
I
I'm
look
sorry.
young. I look young.
You're
That's
still
because
young.
that's because I hang out with young youth. That's the secret. Or stay in school forever, then you'll feel young forever. um, I think about this kind of relates to one of our topics from like a couple weeks ago too, is that like there's certain milestones I would have by now, right? Like in my
Okay.
when I was younger, at least like like when I was in high school, I thought, okay, by the time I'm 20, a couple of kids, I'm well past all of those. That's more news for everybody who's trying to guess how old I am.
You can still keep guessing, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So like there's all these milestones that I thought I would have by now, and that's not what's like, not what I imagined. But then, those are the things that I don't have. But then there's a lot of things that I do have that I never expected. Would be still at school. That's it, because I'm like working on an advanced degree. I never that person who would do that. I'm like working, I've got like a job that I never expected that would have. So there's a lot of good things that have happened that I never expected to be in my life.
Do you think that a lot of those things were influenced by what was around you at the time, and that's how you came up with those things?
I
Or
think
what
so.
you
Yeah.
envisioned?
Yeah. It's like, so essentially, like, ages in my life, right? It's like, it's what I saw in other people's lives, right? Like at this age, my friends are like, they are at this point, they are starting families or this, that, or whatever. And like all of those like expectations I kind of had this whole, how like you plan like things in your head and you're just like, if I take all these appropriate steps, then it'll happen. And then when it doesn't happen, right? I think part of growing up is having
Yeah.
to not having those expectations fulfilled,
Mhm.
and then choosing to um, evaluate like those things that you were expecting that you would have at that point. And then also another thing, I think for one is like kind of like the pain of letting go some of those hopes, or just letting some of those hopes like go unfulfilled for now, like sitting with that. Yeah.
I think what's been interesting for me, especially talking to other people, mostly for the idea of being able to get their perspective on things, whatever place in life that they're at. And a lot of the time, what I've noticed is that people put stuff out along the way.
Mhm.
I feel like when I've compared myself to other people, which we all time, right? You see someone's life and you think like, oh, they really have it all together.
Yeah.
You know, like they're doing so well. And for the career that they have, it could be family, but what we don't see is them from
Mhm.
whatever point that they're at. And I feel like we constantly have to do that as we get older. I feel like when I was younger, I I thought I would get to a point where I know what I'm gonna do, and everything's gonna be like set. You don't have to think as you still do. Like there's so much more. I feel like you have to think of when you're older than when you're
Mhm.
younger.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you think that you'll just get to a point that everything will be set and you'll be good. But that's that I realized of
It's
the
sort of
reality.
yeah, I think about it like that whole thing with, like I A, B, C, and D, and I will,
Mhm.
or like step
You're
one,
doing
step two, step three, and then step four is profit, right? Like that's how it's
yes.
supposed to work. But it doesn't work that way. It's
Yeah.
kind of it's what you see on the outside, and that's why people are kind of obsessed with, productivity hacks from
Yeah.
whatever, like, wake up at 4 a.m. and do
Mhm.
this one thing. And that's the common trait between them. So you're out here thinking, like, yes, if I wake up at 4 a.m. and, write down all my thoughts for 5 minutes, I will totally succeed at the thing that I wanted. But I don't like waking up at 4 a.m. What am I gonna do? I'm just not gonna be successful, I guess.
No, and I feel just too. I feel like our ideas of things tend to evolve as we get older. Like our idea of success is not the same when you're a kid versus when you actually get there. Because I feel like your relationship with the way that you see time, that you see the way you have to do things. Like for example, I feel like before you could look at somebody who's really wealthy and you get to see like, oh wow, they have like this kind of house and this kind of car. But then once you're older, you realize the amount of work that it actually takes to get there.
Mhm.
And then you kind of see just going back to that idea of expectations or what we thought we wanted when we were younger. It's like, how much of this do I actually want? Because if I want these things, these are other things that I'll have to trade off for that in terms of time. Like how much of my time, family, or like seeing my friends, like what you mentioned, it gets really hard to make time with people that you care about when you're older. So to balance all those things and figuring that stuff out. It's a it's not always as clean cut. It's not-
Straightforward as
yeah.
we thought.
Yeah.
This
Like
whole
it's not
growing
just
up
like A to B.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
very
linear. Yeah, it's kind
yeah,
of wiggly.
everywhere. You go like and lots of ups and downs and it's you never stop learning. I think that's another thing. You're constantly learning things, um not just your better, but also about yourself
Mhm.
in a way. Like you feel that you learned more about yourself in the last 10 years?
I would say, like yes, like especially in the last like 4 years that I lived on my own. I think
Mhm.
that's the most amount to measure it, and I don't know if there's like an actual measurement for this. It'd be interesting to find out if there's a measurement for that. But I feel like the most I moved away from my support system. Um, it was definitely challenging having to adjust to being like fully on my own and having to actually take care of myself and like all these small things like like healthcare, just paying
Yeah.
bills, cooking for myself, washing my own clothes, having iron stuff, like this all. Yeah, and like making time for yourself, making time for other people, making sure that you're still connected with your family. It's like it's a lot to keep track of, and sometimes like all those moments where it's like, especially when like you're like being like, for me, like maybe academically or like professionally at my job, or like maybe even like emotionally or like mentally, times when I have to like deal with a challenge, I think that's where the growth actually happens the most. The only way for me to kind of like think yes I've grown is by kind of reflecting on that experience. That's when I tend to things, especially if it's not something I can talk to with other people. Um, I write it out. I pray about it. There's we do that kind of help gain clarity in a time where we have challenges that that you can't really own. And that's kind of how I think about it. It's like, okay, what did I learn from that challenge? Uh, and it's been a lot of challenges the last couple of years.
Scaring people. Hopefully we're not scaring everybody about growing up, okay? It's not, and I feel like even when I was younger, it does feel scary. It does feel, I think anytime things feel different, maybe I won't generalize for everybody, but I think anytime things shift or things feel different, it has the potential to feel unknown.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you don't know what's coming, and it's kind of like trying to prepare yourself for that.
Certainly.
Yeah, and you're just kind of you're just trying to navigate it. And I feel like the older that I've gotten, like what I've learned about myself, really being able to be okay with not knowing the outcome right away, especially involved in things or when I start doing things. I feel like maybe in the last like 5 years of my life, I've been more willing to, not that I'm forcing myself in a way that it's like I feel like I have to, but like pushing myself in the sense that like, because if you don't try, then you're just gonna stop yourself because you're afraid of what the outcome is, and you don't even know yet because you're not trying. And especially as a Christian, when you're measuring those decisions and you're not going to go against anything that is important to you, and being able to say that if this is a with God and praying, like being able to ask God if this opportunity is not for me, if this is not going to be good for me, like if it's going to be something that will help me, like help me have the courage to lean into this. And then like I try to lean into it, and then somewhere like that's exactly what happened with my job that I have now. I shouldn't have the job that I have now just because like credential wise, like it was just a really good timing, really good opportunity. That was all God. I can confidently say like that was all God's timing. But if I didn't give myself that chance and being able to say like I trust you through what this is going to be, like help me through this and lean into that. I feel like the older that you get, you learn, you have more opportunities to but you have to be able to to actually do it. Like you have to trust God.
Yeah,
Like you can't just say it, you know, you just have to be willing
you have
take
to
the step.
do, I think, yeah, that's one of the things, is you have to do your part. You can't just
Yeah.
say words and not do your part, because then it
Mhm.
ends up going, oh, and did you really trust at that point?
Yeah, exactly.
Because some people like don't give themselves a chance. They kind of stop short. And because
Mhm.
again, like you said, like you're just kind of scared of the outcome might be. If you're always asking yourself, well, what if the outcome's negative? But you don't know that. Like you don't know until you try. You don't know, you give it like your all.
Mhm.
Um, but if you're thinking like, oh, it's going to fail, and you try, but in the back of your head, you're probably just going to actually fail because you're
Yeah.
already thinking negatively about whatever
Yeah.
like this thing is in front of
Mhm. What would you tell your younger self, Tracy? I feel like that was kind of mine in the
you.
sense of being able to not just saying that you trust God, but being able to really act on it and
Mhm.
like show it through your actions. What would you tell your younger self, younger that could be watching, like what to
Mm.
expect in their adult life?
Okay, well, I mean, I think the first thing is that your faith is the, for the reason that you just mentioned earlier so beautifully, so eloquently. When you grow up, you'll be like Tony, very eloquent.
I don't even know. I just ramble, guys. Really, honestly,
Well, okay,
and the
so
stream.
I have two teenage nephews. I mean, obviously, I don't
Mhm.
have kids, right? Like, I have two teenage nephews, and I think something that teenagers at some point is that people around you are not thinking about you constantly.
Mm.
People around you are
Agree.
like in their time. They are not judging you. They're all busy and they're all just in their head the entire time caring about themselves. Sometimes I feel like when I was younger, I was so worried about what people thought about me, or how do they perceive me? What do they think about my actions? Like how do I, like all those things? But when you get older, you realize like actually, if I'm so busy thinking about all these things for myself, how can in their brain to like judge people around them?
Honestly, yeah.
And again, like coming back to something earlier, is that good habits now, um, um, like learning about like finance stuff, good relationships, having good communication skills. These are all like really important. And in the age that we're at now, people think that machines are going to do this for me, right? No, like no machine is going to relate for you to other people. These are like
Yeah.
important skills that will set you apart, because especially if other people are just brains to take care of stuff for them, then you're in a really good position to set yourself like apart as like like you like relate
Exactly.
to other people. And then again, you know what, like this whole idea of structure, being organized and like staying on top of things, these different life skills, like those, like the return on those skills are like way more than I would say any other credential, that because those are the things that can get your foot in the door for a lot of like opportunities. And again, how like our face like shapes like our outlook in life as well. That's what I said earlier, like like our face is the most important thing. My nephews, or my younger self. I have to look at a picture of my younger self and tell myself that.
Yeah. I do want to read something that somebody put in the chat really quickly. He said, when you're younger, the fear of failure doesn't really exist. The reality of failure is real due to experiences and exposure. But I
Mm.
will say that the positive spin on that is that the older you get, the more that you learn, if you are willing to
Mhm.
keep learning. And in that learning yourself, not only do you learn more about others, but you also learn more about your faith. But
Mhm.
you have to be willing to learn, open to seeing those things and not
Mhm.
just thinking that you know that you have it
Everything.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when
Yeah.
you're a kid, you think that you're gonna get to know everything, but I think that's part of you is being able to say that I don't know everything, and being trusting and set me through this, even if I don't know everything at this moment. I have to be willing. Like that's our action, is to be willing to keep learning, to be okay with things out, to how to get better to the other side. So I know there's other people who shared their thoughts of you might be silent listeners. We really appreciate everyone who's to share this with anyone that you think getting older at the moment. All of us are still struggling. We're all still trying to figure it out. Yeah, there's supplements for everything now. Thank you, Tracy, for sharing your thoughts, and everyone who's been there with us in the live chat. Hopefully you have benefited today and felt a little bit more connected, knowing that you're not alone when it comes to growing up. We're all still growing up. So have a great evening, day, everyone, wherever you're watching from. This has been INCRadio Chatline, where we try to find connections through conversations. So take care. Have a great weekend.
The words in the